Like this, as Jesus continued on towards Jerusalem, he reached the border between Galilee and Samaria. As he entered a village there, 10 lepers stood at a distance, crying out, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." He looked at them and said, "Go show yourselves to the priest." And as they went, they were cleansed of their leprosy. One of them, when he saw that he was healed, came back to Jesus shouting, "Praise God." He fell to the ground at Jesus' feet, thanking him for what he had done. This man was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Didn't I heal 10 men? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give glory to God except this foreigner?" And Jesus said to the man, "Stand up and go. Your faith has healed you." I want to speak for a couple minutes this morning on the subject, from the outcast to the outspoken. From the outcast to the outspoken. Now, before we get into the text itself, I just want to give us some background on Luke. Luke was written by Luke. Luke and Acts was both written by Luke, the physician. And this is the first time, y'all, when reading this text, where I discovered this distance theme that Luke had. So then I had to go and jump down the rabbit hole of doing my studying, looking at, well, how many scriptures between Luke and Acts is actually focusing on or has some connotation of there being a distance that is being eliminated by Jesus in Luke and then by the apostles in Acts. And there are over 34 different texts, y'all, between Luke and Acts that talks about the different distance that we deal with. There is a physical distance that some have, as we've read here in Luke, that the leper stood afar off from Jesus. There is those who are socially distant. Because of the things that they have done or who they are or the jobs they carry, they have been excluded from society. You have your tax collectors, you have your Samaritans, you have the lepers, you have women who are in the margins, you have the poor and the outcasts. All of these are socially distant, and you see Jesus bring the outsiders in. You see him heal women in the synagogue. You see him call tax collectors to be his disciples. You see him touch the lepers that were deemed unclean and here to speak to the lepers and to heal them. You see him meeting the marginalized people where they are and closing the distance. But then we also see those who are spiritually distant in Luke text. Luke, he highlights those who are separated from God by sin, pride, unbelief, or rebellion. You have the example in Luke 15 of the prodigal son. The son leaves home. He goes afar off from his father and his covering, and he does whatever he wants to do and spends all his daddy money and wastes everything that he has. But eventually, he comes home. You have the Pharisee and the tax collector in Luke 18. The tax collector, though he stood afar off from the altar because he did not feel worthy to be in the temple, he was the one who was closer to God than the Pharisee who had pride and beat his chest about the things that he felt like he was so good about. And then you have a man named Zacchaeus in Luke 19. He was a man who was considered spiritually lost, and he is welcomed by Jesus. He is identified by Jesus, and he is brought close to Jesus. Jesus intentionally chooses to dwell and fellowship in his house. And so we see this theme of distance being closed in Luke Acts. And this week, I challenge you to take some time to go and read with the lens of how is Jesus trying to close the distance between us and him. And so we're going to walk through the text, just simply walk through the text this morning. And there's some things that I really just want to highlight to us because this text really spoke to me in a very good way. And so the first thing that we see in verse 11, it says, Jesus continued on toward Jerusalem, and he reached the border between Galilee and Samaria. Now we have to know that Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem, and he is in prep to be crucified. He has already told his disciples, my time for crucifixion is coming. I am getting ready to die. And so he is being intentional about the journey that he is making to Jerusalem. And we see him, it specifically says that he's between Galilee and Samaria. And so what we know is that this is a very important place, the fact that he's in between the two, because Galilee represents the Jews whom he is called to, the chosen people of God, and Samaria represents the people of God who have been outcast, who have been cast aside, who have been called half-breeds. And so here in the text, we see Jesus in between those who are considered called and those who are cast to the side. And so Jesus shows up in between in this biblical narrative, and it is the physical embodiment of social, ethnic, and religious animosity, and it becomes the setting where Jesus challenged traditional prejudice by interacting with the outcasts. We're going from outcast to outspoken, right here in the middle of the great divide between the righteous and the unrighteous, the chosen and the rejected, the pure breeds and the wannabes. These men are here and they have leprosy. These men clearly are both Jew and Gentile. However, they are stuck together outside the walls of their city with nowhere to go because they were all considered unclean according to the law. Sometimes you may not like each other and have a strong disdain for somebody, but you'll bond over your trauma and your issues. Because we together now, we one now because you got the same issue I got and we can't go nowhere anyway, so we just going to be cool with each other. And so these 10 lepers are hanging together outside the city walls because they don't have a choice. Because the law says they can no longer be inside the city walls because they are considered unclean. And so what we see here is that they are considered to have leprosy. Lepros in the Greek, it is a scaly condition. The term refers to a person who is visibly afflicted with a chronic skin condition broadly called leprosy. In scripture, the word emphasizes, here it is, the state of ritual uncleanliness rather than a specific medical diagnosis. That leprosy isn't just about, oh, you got a skin condition. I have eczema, man. I ain't gonna say I'm unclean. Okay, it's not just about a skin condition, but it's also about the other issues that make you spiritually unclean. And so the thing about it is that anytime you have to be pronounced unclean by the priest, but then you also have to be pronounced clean by the priest as well. And so they are required priestly inspection, both for diagnosis and to be declared clean again. If you want to know more about that, you can go look at Leviticus 14. It'll take the whole thing down, okay? That's about people being unclean and your house being unclean, but we ain't going there today, all right? Verse number 12 says, they kept their distance. They were afar off or at a distance. In Greek, this is porothen. Porrothen. Porothen. It conveys a physical, relational, or temporal remoteness. It invites reflection on what bridges the distance, whether it be divine mercy, covenant promise, or faith. Anything or anyone that these people with leprosy touched was made ceremonially unclean. So they didn't try to touch Jesus. They just asked for pity from him. How many of us, at some point in our life, when you first came to know Jesus, you didn't want to come too close, sat in the back of the church, you just kind of, I'm just going to see what this God is all about. You didn't want to come too close because I got some issues, I got some struggles, and I know you don't want to be around unclean me, but Jesus, have pity on me. And Lord, and behold, he responded. And then you decide to keep on walking. And he said, it's going to be all right. And you said, okay, Jesus. And you start doing some walking, baby steps, right? You start doing some walking. And then the song said, I looked at my hands. And they look new. I looked at my feet. And they did too. And something happened when you followed the instruction of Jesus. The first thing that we see is that outcasts often view themselves as unworthy and incapable of companionship. Because in some way or for some reason, they have been stripped of it. And often it was out of their control. The people with leprosy, they didn't say, Lord, give me leprosy. They say, Lord, let me be unclean. They didn't say that. But something happened that caused the external image of the stuff that was happening on the inside. And now they have been stripped away of their companionship. And so now not only have I been stripped away of my companionship, but I also see myself as unworthy and incapable of being in close proximity and relationship with other people. How many of us, now I speak for Diamond. Diamond was good at being close to people without people being close to her. I could be everybody's good friend. And I didn't have too many good friends. You know what I'm saying? I could show up for people, but I didn't let them try to show up for me too much, because you ain't going to disappoint me. My own mama had to fight me, Diamond, do you need some? No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just going to send it to you anyway, just in case. Because I was that, no, I'm not going to set myself up to be let down by people. And they had learned and created a community of people who had been outcast from their own community. And now they were dealing with a situation where even in their interactions, they stood afar off because they didn't feel like they were worthy to be in the presence of, because the rules, the law, and the way people interacted with them told them that's what it was. And we have to, at some point, get to a place where we understand that is a lie and decide to come close, not just to God, but also to people. And so, and we'll see it in the text. We're going to keep moving. Verse 13, it reads, they cried out, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. Now, this second master that is used here is epistate. E-P-I-S-T-A-T-E-S. Epistate. It means commander or the one appointed over something. More specifically here, they are appealing to Jesus' power and authority over all things, their bodies included, not just as a great teacher. Sometimes you'll see him called teacher. You'll see them say Lord, just as master, and Lord, just as person I admire. But here in this moment, when they cried out for mercy, they didn't cry out for the teacher. They didn't cry out for the rabbi. They called out for the one who has power and authority over everything, even their bodies. They submitted themselves to him in that moment and says, I know you have power to fix me, to fix the issues that are happening in me. I know you have power. And so what we see here is, to go from outcast to outspoken, you have to call on the one you need. You got to call on the one that you need. They didn't call for the teacher because that's not what they needed. They didn't need the teacher in that moment. They called on the one who had authority over sicknesses and diseases that had them stuck in isolation and had broken them off from fellowship with their community. Yet, it was also the thing that caused them to have a life-changing encounter with Jesus too. Sometimes the thing that seems to separate us will also be the thing that brings us to the point where we get to have a true encounter with Jesus. When nobody else is around and can help me, when I can't call my friend and say, hey, can you send me $100? When I can't call my parents and say, hey, I need you to come help me. When nobody else is available to help you in your situation, you find out that God really is Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who sees and provides. When the doctors don't have an answer for what's happening in your body, you do find out that God is Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals. You have to be in some situation in order for you to identify who God is. But if I'm in a situation and I don't call on the one that I need, I'll never get what I need. And then I'm angry at the one who has what I need, but it's not because he don't want to give it to me. I just didn't call him right. So we have to call on the one that we need. And then in verse 14, this is Jesus. He looked at them and said, go, show yourself to the priest. And as they went, they were cleansed from their leprosy. Jesus responds and he tells them to go. One word. And the Greek word here is poreume. Poreume, okay? P-O-R-E-U-O-M-A-I. Now this part is real good to me, okay? When you look up this word, we just see go, okay? But this is a command coming from Jesus' lips, so it hits differently. It means to depart, to journey, or travel, to go forth. But here's the one that got me. It also means to die. So Jesus says, the lepers men say, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And they say, have mercy on us. And he just simply says, go, show yourself to the priest. And that go, the Bible then says, as they went, right? So if I'm obedient to that command, there is something in me that dies. Because when I submit myself to God, my flesh, it dies, right? That's why we are to present our bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. I have to die. So in order to go as Jesus tells me to go, in order to walk the path that Jesus tells me to walk, in my going, I'm dying. But in my going, he's also made alive in me. And so they had to go. But then not only does it imply that we are dying on our journey as we're going to where God is sending us, furthermore, it also implies that God gives a provision necessary when we get there. Because for them to be able to present themselves for the priest, there was also a sacrifice that was necessary in order for the purification ritual to be completed. Which means these people have been outcast for God knows how long. Some maybe a year, some maybe 6 months, some maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, their whole life. These people have been outcast for God knows how long. Yet there is still a requirement that is needed when they get to the temple. So not only does it mean that we have to die on our journey, but it also means we have to trust him for the provision necessary when we get to where we're supposed to go. So to go from being outcast to outspoken, I must follow the instructions of the Lord, even when they don't make sense. Jesus, you ain't healed me yet. You ain't done nothing yet. All you said was go. What am I supposed to do when I get there? What if I still got this stuff on me when I get there? All the people going to be fussing at me and cussing at me and yelling at me and calling me names while I'm walking and I'm on my way. And these people like, what are you doing here? And why are you here? You don't belong here. You ain't supposed to be here. And they saying all these things to me, but I'm only walking because you told me to go. I don't look like what these people think I should look like yet. I don't talk like what they think I should talk like. I don't act like how they think I should act. But you already told me to go. So am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to stay? Are you supposed to fix me while I'm here? Are you supposed to fix me on the way? But he said, go. Right? And so when we go, we must be obedient to the instructions of the Lord, even when they don't make sense. If they make you uncomfortable, if they take you to a place you didn't think you belong, you should still go and follow the instructions of the Lord. And so what we see in that B clause of that text is two unique statements, and I promise you this made my day. It says, as they went, they were cleansed. As they went, obedience, they were cleansed. Result. As they went, by faith, they were cleansed. His promise. As they went, they were healed. And we say, God, I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you. He said, I told you to go. I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you. God, how you going to fix the situation? How you going to provide? How you going to meet this need? And he said, I told you to go. And as you go, you will be cleansed. So as they went is translated into just one word in the Greek, hypagen. Hypagein. It means to depart or to lead under. Here it is. Or to bring under or to lead oneself away under someone's authority. Okay, this is good because he said, go show yourself to the priest. And we just found out that go in the Greek also means to die. And then we find out that as they went in the Greek means that to be led away under someone's authority. Okay? So as they went, they were going under the authority that Jesus had given them to get up out of their current situation and go to the place where they could be proven to be pure. Okay? It's good. Because God will have you get up out of your mess that you are in. And all people still see is mess. All they see is where you've been, what you did, and how long you was there. Right? But God said, get up and go show yourself to the priest. See, because the priests were the people that was designated to say, this is clean, this is not. This is clean, this is not. This is holy, this is not. This is holy, this is not. And so he said, go show yourself to the priest. And some of us will go and show ourselves to other people. Some of us want to go back and show ourselves to the people that talked about us. Some of us want to go to them people who spoke ill on our name. Some of us want to go and flaunt in front of folk that don't matter at all. Instead of going and showing yourself to the one who says, that's what I said. Right? We got to stop trying to go and show ourselves before people that don't matter. Instead, show yourself to the priest. And so it's good to me, y'all. Here's the thing is that as they went, they were cleansed. Now, again, I'm giving y'all a lot of Greek words. Y'all need to go back and look at these words. I promise you it will make the text make so much more sense, all right? This word is catharsos. Cathartiso, okay? Now, we know this word is to clean. If you hear catharsis, people just word vomit, okay? Katharzo, okay? It means to cleanse, to purge, to purify, or to make clean. This thing gets so good. It says to remove all intermingling of filth, to free from the admixture or the mixture that is happening, anything that soils, adulterates, or corrupts. Is to make clean by curing, like our lepers, or to remove by cleansing. So in a moral sense, they were cleansed and free from the defilement of sin and faults. They were made free from the guilt of sin, and they were consecrated by being cleansed and purified. To consecrate or to dedicate, to be pronounced clean. So in essence, as they were obedient to the word God gave them through Jesus that was spoken, the things that kept them from community, fellowship, and joy was being purged out of them. what we have to realize and understand is that the things that are broken in us, a lot of times, the things and issues that we have, it happened in communion and relationship. And so what needs to be healed and restored is going to happen in communion and relationship. And so Jesus said, go show yourself the priest, because that's the only way they could be readmitted back into communion with the people. And some of us are afraid to be readmitted for real back into communion with the people, because that means they now have access to me again. And I don't know about anybody else. I don't like people having access to me, because you might hurt me. And then I'm supposed to be behaving like Jesus. So I can't respond the way I want to respond. I can't say what I want to say. I can't do what I want to do. And so for me, sometimes it's better for me to just be on over here by myself. Then I ain't got to worry about not saying what I ain't supposed to say, thinking what I ain't supposed to think, or doing what I ain't supposed to do. But that ain't what Jesus called us to. He called us to communion with his people. And he's going to heal us in communion with his people. And he's going to heal us so we can be in communion with his people. And so the next thing that we see in this text, we got to keep this train moving. In order to go from outcast to outspoken, I have to be able to perceive that which God is doing in me. I have to be able to perceive that which God is doing in me. Verse 15 says, one of them, when he saw that he was healed, came back to Jesus shouting, praise God. He saw that he was healed. And he said, forget them priests. I'm going back to Jesus. And that word saw there is horao. Horao. It means to see, to perceive, to know, to behold, or take heed. It is to discern clearly, physically or mentally. But it's also to experience or to become acquainted with by experience. This would be similar to knowing, which we know as Gnostic, is learning in a different capacity. So what you see helps you learn about yourself and about God. And so this word ranges throughout the New Testament in meaning from ordinary sight to prophetic revelation. Okay? And so we see that these people are healed on the outside, but this also gives credence to the fact, y'all, that the Samaritan started out on his way to the priest like everybody else. But when he saw himself and saw that he was clean, y'all, I think that he really just came to himself because the Samaritans weren't supposed to go to the temple in the first place. They didn't have access to the temple. They was never supposed to show up in the temple. They couldn't go into the inner courts of the temple because they were considered half-breeds. They were considered unclean just because they were a Samaritan. So he was doubly rejected because not only did he have leprosy, but he was also a Samaritan. And so whether he was clean or not, he still wouldn't be accepted into the temple because of his nationality. And so he figured out, wait a minute. Now, Jesus told me to go see the priest. And in his going to the priest, the place where he would not be accepted, he realized what had happened for real on the inside of him. And instead of continuing on his way, he said, hold on, wait a minute. I got to go back to this man, because how did he just heal me when I started taking some steps? Is there anybody ever been in the room, like the moment that you realize, wait a minute. Wait, I'm not angry like I used to be. Wait a minute. I'm not holding on to unforgiveness like I used to. Wait a minute. I don't wake up tired every day no more. Wait a minute. I got to go back and I got to tell you, thank you. Hello. Is there anybody who this week just woke up and realized, wait a minute. Thank you. Because I didn't think I could be here right now. Thank you. Because I thought my mind was going to kill me. Thank you. Because I thought He said, y'all going to the temple. I'm going back to Jesus right quick so I can say thank you. And so here's the thing, though, is that when he perceived that he was healed, it's different from the cleansed in verse 13. And the word that this healed here, it means to make whole and to cure. It deals with healing as the supernatural and brings attention to the Lord himself. I just want to encourage you that the Lord didn't heal you just so he could heal you. He didn't cleanse you just to cleanse you. He healed you to make you a living testimony of the power that is at work on the inside of you. Paul said, don't you know that the Spirit of God lives and dwells in you? The Spirit of God made alive in you is evidence that God is alive and well. If he was a dead God, you'd have no live spirit. But thanks be unto God that his Spirit is alive in you and it allows you to be healed. I'm being healed from the inside out. I'm being made whole from the inside out. It's not an outside in thing. It's an inside out thing. And the moment that I understand, if I give the Spirit room to touch areas and places in me that have been hurting for so long, I can be healed. And then people can see the evidence of the healing. And I'll be a living testimony of what heaven has announced. And so this is a healing that is beyond what the physical eye can see. That's what this healing is talking about in verse 15. And so when you realize that he has healed you, in order to go from outcast to outspoken, I have to turn back, embrace the one who heals, and become undignified in his presence. I have to turn back to him and say thank you. But then I have to become undignified in his presence. Verse 16 says he fell down to the ground at Jesus' feet, thanking him for what he had done. And this man was a Samaritan. Moving on with your life from the hard seasons alone does not give glory to God. Moving on without acknowledging the fact that it's because of him that you're still here does not give glory to the mercy of God that has been at work in your life. Moving on without telling people, if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, I know where I would be. If you can't say that, but you still just moving right along, it's like a slap in God's face. That I don't appreciate the grace and the mercy that it took. I don't appreciate the fact that you carried me in your righteous right hand when I didn't have enough strength to lift my head myself. We cannot be prideful about where God has brought us from, because that's what happened in the text. And my time is running short, y'all. What happened in the text is that there were 10 men who were healed, but only one thought enough of what Jesus had done to come back and say thank you. Now, I got to be honest, because I've had a season where I've been denied. Well, God healed, and I kept right on moving, going on about my business and doing what God had told me, he had told me to do, right? I got other things to worry about than stopping and giving evidence to what you have done, right? But then I got other seasons, y'all, when I had enough sense to realize he should have let me die. And because he didn't, I'm going to give him praise every chance I get. Because he didn't let the devil kill me, I'm going to give him praise every chance I get. Let everything that have breath praise ye the Lord. Why? Because if he took his breath away from me, death would be my portion. If he didn't give his angels charge to keep me in my coming and my going, the darts the enemy sent my way, they would have killed me when I didn't have enough sense to lift the shield of faith to defend myself. He still raised a standard against the enemy, and because he did, I have no choice but to give him glory. I'm going to stomp on the devil's head every chance I get. You thought you would destroy me. You thought you would sift me as wheat, but God decided it was good for me to live and declare the works of the Lord. So every chance I get, my mouth is going to give him praise. Every chance I get, my hands is going to give him praise. Every chance I get, my thoughts are going to give him praise. Every chance I get, my feet are going to give him praise. Why? Because I used to use this body in ways he told me not to. But he had an appointed time for Diamond, and I thank God that he didn't give up on me. I have to come back and say, God, you're great. Thank you for saving me. I gotta come back and say, God, you're great. Thank you for saving me. God, you're great. I don't deserve your grace and mercy yet. It chases me down every single day. My response is thank you. Why is it thank you, Diamond? It's thank you because I thought it was no good. It's thank you because I had nights I couldn't even lift my head. It's thank you because I didn't have enough sense to give you glory. But now that I know it was you who kept me, it was you who sustained me, it was you who lifted me up, I gotta say thank you. I dare not go on about my business like it's just any other day. I dare not act like he didn't deliver me from rejection and depression. I dare not act like he didn't loose the chains of anxiety and suicidal thoughts. I dare not act like he didn't heal me from rejection and molestation. I dare not live another day and not say thank you. Because I was unclean. I was unclean. I was isolated and alone. I felt abandoned and rejected, and I didn't want no parts with nobody, but he still healed me though. I didn't ask for this healing. I didn't even know the capacity into which I needed to be healed. And he's still healing me. But since he decided it was good to come and get little old me, I dare not let a rock cry out for me. I'm the living stone, and I'll cry all day long. The Lord is great and greatly to be praised. The Lord is great and greatly to be praised. The Lord is great and greatly to be praised. Hey, he's greatly to be praised because how can he take the dirt of the earth, breathe his breath into it, and I come alive? The Lord is great and greatly to be praised. How can he take somebody who said, I want to curse you and die right now, and he still said, no, I'm going to keep you anyhow? The Lord is great and greatly to be praised. Because I made my bed in hell, and he came and got me. Listen, I made my bed in hell, Pastor, but he came and got me though. Hey, while I was dead in my trespasses and sins, he died for me. Okay, this is why I said do reckless love, because I was reading the text. And in Luke 16, the rich man had walked by Lazarus and walked by him and walked by him, and he sat at a place of honor, and he had great things through his life, and when he died, he was burning in hell, and Lazarus was sitting there in the bosom with Abraham. And the rich man said, hey, Abraham, woo, he said, can you let him just dip his finger in the water to cool my tongue? Woo. This is the part that got me, PC. Woo. Abraham said, even if I wanted to, there's a great chasm that separates us. But there is nothing that separates my God from getting to me. Paul said, I am convinced that nothing can separate me from the love of God. And I understand better now that it didn't matter the distance between God and I. He spent eternity making it right for me. He died so that I could go from being an outcast to being outspoken about the one who is able to heal, set free, and deliver. He died so that I could be outcast, so people could see what restoration looked like. He died so there be no chasm. How do I know? Only he was able to go down into hell, preach a revival, and take the keys back from Satan, from death, hell, and the grave. He was able to go beyond the chasm that separated he and I. And now the chasm is destroyed. The veil is torn, and there is no distance any longer. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful because my sins have been reason enough for him to never look at me again. But he still decides to not only look at me, but he comes close. And I'm grateful this morning that we serve a God who will destroy every barrier that would keep us from being in communion with him and his body. There is no hurt that's too great for him. There's no misunderstanding that's too great for him. There's no deception that's too great for him. He is God. And he is able to take every one of us and put us in a place where we say, forget everything else. I'm riding for Jesus. And ain't nothing gonna keep me from coming back to the one who changed everything about who I am. Nothing will keep me from chasing after this God who chased me down. Nothing will hinder me from getting to his presence. Yes, he came and got the one. But today, I want you to be the one who comes back. He's done his part. That's our job, to come back and do ours. Thank you, Lord.